We're taking a look at the new Chevy Bolt EV, which was unveiled at the Detroit Auto Show. I'm with Dan Amman, president of General Motors. What are your expectations for this car this year?
So the Bolt represents a pretty simple equation. More than 200 miles of range, $30,000, a really compelling proposition. And it's all about, from our perspective, making EVs available for everybody. And we think the Bolt's going to be a huge hit, and we've seen that already in all the commentary around it, so we're super excited.
And this will happen even with gas prices that continue to fall.
Yeah, I mean, given the amount of interest we've had even in the last week between CES and here, we think it's a real breakthrough and puts EVs into a position that they haven't been in up until now, which is at a really compelling price point with great performance and great range.
GM also unveiled this car, a new Chevy Cruze Hatchback.
So the first generation Cruze that we sold here in the US, we sold in sedan only. We had a Cruze hatch in the rest of the world, and that was very successful, and we decided to bring the hatch here for the second generation of Cruze, and we think there's a really neat market opportunity for us, and we'll be growing total Cruze sales between sedan and hatch. We think it's going to be a great opportunity.
No firm numbers, I would assume.
No, we don't know. The market will tell us.
It was a very telling year last year. In 2015, great year for GM, great year for the industry. It was a record, but have sales peaked? Can 2016 as an industry really do what it did last year?
Yeah, we see in 2016 probably more of the same, perhaps a little bit of growth in the industry here this year, but a pretty stable environment, pretty stable macro backdrop, so we feel good about 16.
Any worries about rising interest rate and financing for customers?
It's early days, obviously, in the Fed's activity around rate increases. We see that being fairly gradual and not having a direct impact, really in the near term.
What is the biggest risk for GM, do you think, in 2016, if it's not either of those two issues?
Well, it's really the global economy. We want to make sure the global economy continues in reasonable shape overall. We have some parts of the world that are really struggling. South America is an example. China's been decelerating, but still reasonable growth. U.S. economy looks strong and looks like it'll continue, so we're keeping an eye on the global economy.
And you're pretty optimistic about China overall, or is there a reason to pause here?
Well, clearly we've had decelerating. We've been saying for a couple of years that we see the market maturing, and that's certainly what's been happening. But our sales still grew more than 5% last year in China, and we see modest growth again coming this year off of a record sales last year, so that's not a bad place to be.
GM made a lot of headlines with a big investment in Lyft. Is there a way to quantify an investment like that compared to an investment in a new car? Are they comparable in terms of pricing?
Well, they're all comparable in terms of, we're deploying company cash and our shareholders' cash to make these investments. We think the Lyft investment and the strategic alliance that goes with that around autonomous vehicles, as well as the rental hubs and some other activities we will be pursuing, really puts General Motors at the forefront of the changes in urban mobility and puts us in a position where we can really lead that change going forward. And we think it's a really exciting time in the industry, given all this change coming, and we absolutely are positioning ourselves to be at the forefront of that.
I want to ask you about your outlook for truck and SUV sales. Obviously, that is the sweet spot for a lot of consumers, and it has been, especially in December, we saw a pickup.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a strong year overall. The trend towards SUVs continues. Pickup sales have been very strong, obviously, over the last year or two. We see that trend really continuing into 16, so that's good news, obviously.
Dan Amman, great to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.